Boo! Hey, happy Halloween, everybody. It's spooky season. And you know what many people are afraid of? Roller coasters. In all seriousness, this video has very little to do with Halloween, so if you're not watching this on Halloween, stick around. Because you may just discover the tips that help you or someone you know overcome their fear of roller coasters. Are you afraid of roller coasters? Maybe it's a friend, a relative, a spouse, a son or daughter, or maybe you, yourself, watching this video is afraid. Well, I'm here to tell you there is no need to worry, and that it's completely normal to have a fear of roller coasters. Almost everyone starts out being afraid until they've ridden their first one, and most people come off it completely loving it. It's honestly super weird if somebody is never afraid of roller coasters. Personally, I was terrified of coasters until the age of 9. I was afraid I would fall out of the seat or something, but one day I finally gathered enough courage to ride Woodstock Express at Kings Island with my parents. And after that first ride, I've loved roller coasters ever since. There were still rides that scared me, that I had to work up the courage to do, but I knew that I could do it. Now, let's take a look at your situation. First, you have to look inward at yourself and tackle the big questions in life. Why are you afraid? Maybe it's regarding heights, going high speeds, going upside down, safety, feeling of danger, or a combination of these. Determining and understanding the root cause of your fear is the first step to overcoming it. Let's address roller coaster safety first. For permanent parks especially, roller coasters are super safe. Maintenance and inspections are performed on these rides daily and are put out of commission for repair if there are ever any issues found. Every year at some point or during the off-season, parks entirely dismantle the coaster trains and rebuild them back together, replacing any components that need to be worked on. Every single day, ride operators have to test each train multiple times through the layout and perform block checks. Block zones are sections of track that only one train can occupy at a time with the help of sensors. This is the safety system to prevent trains from colliding into one another. This is why you will see trains stopped on the lift hill or the mid-course brake run, and that is totally normal. It means the coaster safety system is working properly. Coasters also have PLC controllers that are programmed so that a train cannot be dispatched without every single restraint locked properly. Ride operators also must ride the roller coaster before any guests for final testing to ensure it's running properly. Operators ensure that each rider is fit snugly within the restraints, as well as make sure riders are tall enough to meet the ride requirements. Roller coaster restraints also have multiple mechanical devices and fail-safes to ensure they never come up during the ride. Seatbelts are unnecessary, but yet another fail-safe that some parks will opt to add to their rides. Like anything mechanical, roller coaster accidents do happen, and this is not to slight anyone who's been injured in any roller coaster accident. My thoughts and prayers legitimately are with anyone who has ever been affected by one of these accidents. But one reason that roller coaster accidents are always treated as such a big deal by the media especially is because they're extremely rare. Roller coasters in general are very safe. The chance of being injured or killed on a roller coaster is so small, like really, really small. According to IAAPA, the likelihood of being seriously injured on a fixed site ride is 1 in 15.5 million. That is insane. And almost half of deaths occurring on roller coasters are due to a rider having previous ailments, such as heart conditions, not being fit to ride. To put it in perspective, you are way more likely to get a serious injury driving your car to the park. For example, in a given year, you are 1.2 times more likely to die from a tornado, 1.4 times more likely to die in a plane crash, 2.2 times more likely to die in a shark attack, not living near the coast, 12.7 times more likely to be struck by lightning, 23 times more likely for an average person to win an Olympic medal, and 1,347 times more likely that a casual bowler bowls a perfect game. Now, I could go on, but you get the point. Roller coasters are very safe, safer than even flying on an airplane. Other studies conducted independent of the amusement industry reviewed 20 cases of reported brain injuries theorized as a result of roller coasters, but they concluded that there was no proof that roller coasters caused their neurological injuries. A separate study said that an examination of data from 167 roller coasters found that while the ride's top speeds and heights have increased from year to year, G-forces sustained by riders have remained the same because of improvements in design. Many activities, from sneezing to even jumping on pogo sticks, can cause brief peak G-forces greater than those from roller coaster rides. Now, if you still don't believe that roller coasters are safe and that's why you won't ride them, then I don't really know what else to tell you to change your mind. It's all psychological, and after seeing the information, knowing and believing that roller coasters are safe, that should help dispel this fear factor. In my opinion, there are two main approaches to overcoming your fear. I'm going to coin them as the gradual climb approach or the jump in the deep end approach. Gradual climbing involves riding the smaller roller coasters at your local park first and working your way up to the bigger rides that are more frightening and intense for you. Jumping in the deep end is simple. You go straight to the biggest and scariest ride at the park, and after you do this, you'll have the courage to ride everything else there because you did one that was scarier already. This is the approach that I did personally when I went to Cedar Point for the first time. I went on Top Thrill Dragster, which I was very afraid of at the time, but afterwards I knew I wouldn't be afraid to ride any other roller coaster at Cedar Point that day, because if I could ride Dragster, I could ride anything. For children, I would definitely recommend the gradual climb approach, but for anyone else, you'll just have to use your best judgment on what you think will be most effective for you. For me personally, jumping in the deep end worked great. Another tip, if you are a parent or sibling with a younger family member, bring them to amusement parks when they are younger, like 4 to 8 year old range. If they see mom, dad, or an older brother or sister enjoying roller coasters and rides when they are young, they are much more likely to ride them as well. It is normal for children to look up to their parents or their older siblings and want to be like them, so this should help a lot. From my experience, I find that kids who don't visit an amusement park until they're like 10 or older are much more likely to be afraid and never want to ride roller coasters. Another piece of advice is to not push someone too hard to ride something. If they don't want to ride it, it's not the end of the world, and leave them be. The person has to decide and have the desire to overcome their fear. If they have no desire to, then they're not going to do it. Sometimes peer encouragement can help a lot, but just be careful it doesn't turn into destructive peer pressure. Now, if you are afraid of heights specifically, an easy remedy for this can be to close your eyes on the way up the lift hill, or to just focus on one point in front of you. Maybe it's the back of the seat in front of you, or the track that's in front of you until you are over that first drop. If you are afraid of high speeds on a ride, just think of all the things you may have done before when you're moving much faster than most roller coasters. Like flying on an airplane, driving a car on the highway, riding a jet ski, a bike, or a motorcycle, and so on. It's hardly any different other than you can feel the wind in your face. The main difference is actually that it's way safer to be riding a roller coaster than any of those things that I just mentioned. Realizing this should help you tolerate high speeds better. If you are afraid of going upside down or inversions, do a somersault on your living room carpet. No, seriously. That will likely feel more forceful, dizzy, and disorienting than the roller coaster that you are afraid of. And when you do a somersault, you are also going upside down for a moment. As mentioned earlier, sneezing or jumping on a pogo stick will exert more G-forces on your body than most roller coasters and inversions. Inversions on a roller coaster really do not feel all that different from traveling right side up in most cases. It really does not feel bad or uncomfortable at all on most rides. You really have to ride it to understand how it feels, but it doesn't feel bad. And again, if you feel afraid of falling out when the ride goes upside down, you don't need to. The restraints were designed and tested specifically to keep riders in their seats so you cannot fall out. Personally, I'm more afraid to do a handstand than go upside down on a roller coaster. If you are afraid of tall drops or that stomach dropping feeling, there's not much I can say other than you'll have to try it and get used to it. It's not all that different from going down a slide or playing on the swings in your childhood. Again, doing a somersault will make your stomach tickle way more than any coaster drop I've ever experienced. I personally love the tummy tickling feeling when a coaster has a tall or steep drop. Even if you don't like it at first, give it a chance. You really do get used to it, and it only lasts for a couple of seconds. It's usually over before you can even think about it. Just think, if 300 million riders can do it each year at US parks alone, including many people you know, you can do it too. You have to want to overcome that fear though. The best way to do so is to tackle it head on, not to beat around the bush and sit on the fence about it. Make a decision and do it. Don't go to the park with the mindset, well, maybe I'll get on Diamondback today, or whatever coaster you're afraid of. Maybe I'll get on it today, because let's be real, you won't. But if you go in with the mindset, I am tackling this today, then you most likely will. It's like going to the gym. If you start off with the mindset of, well, maybe I'll go to the gym 3 days a week when I feel like it, or say, I'll do it later, I'll get there eventually, then you've already made your decision. You aren't going. You've got to put your best foot forward.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Go in with a plan and have the right mindset to make it happen. You can do this. I believe in you. Now it's your turn. Tell me your story. Why are you afraid of roller coasters? Were you ever afraid of roller coasters, and how did you overcome that fear? Are there any other reasons you may be afraid of roller coasters? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Go out and tackle your fears. I know you can do it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more coaster content coming your way at least twice a week. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful Halloween, eat lots of candy, and overcome your fear of riding roller coasters. I'll see you guys in the next one.